Welcome to Love Bites. Love Bites. Love Bites. Love Bites. By Dr. Tara, your destination for sexual wellness and mindful relationship advice. Hope you're having an orgasmic day.
So, heteroflexibility, I want to start by giving my audience kind of the general definition. According to, studies and research, heteroflexible person means someone who is, mostly straight, but they usually find themselves sexually attracted to people of different genders occasionally. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Katelyn, please share with us your journey.
Sure. So my journey really started after college. So my early to mid 20s. And even before then, I was always checking out women more than I check out men. I just think women are so beautiful, just sexy and soft and bubbly and just fun, just overall fun. And I love the energy. So, after college, in my early 20s, I, started actually making out with girls and checking them out more. And then my mid 20s, I was going through this point in my life where I was getting to know more of, who am I? Who's Katelyn? What does she want? What do I like? And I started to really learn more about myself. And as I started opening up to that, I started fantasizing even more. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, what would it be like to go down on a woman or really embrace a woman? And then I remember watching this movie, and in the movie, there's a threesome with a man and two women. And that just nailed it for me. I couldn't stop thinking about that scene for weeks. At that point I was like, okay, I really, really want to have sex with women and eventually explore threesomes as well, to women and a man. And at that point I was like, okay, this is definitely what I want. And so then I was with a guy at the time. I was with him for most of my 20s. So I really started this journey when I was with him. And he was the first person I told. We went and got drinks and I was getting pretty tipsy.
Wow.
And so he was the first person I told that, that's something that I've been thinking about a lot and fantasizing about and something that I want. And so I had brought that up. And however, after the conversation, I knew that he wasn't the right partner to start experimenting with or exploring with. We already had communication problems, and there was already broken trust there as well. So it would not have been a good time. But that was the first time I ever really
wasn't there.
Yeah, no, not at all. But I mean, it was the beginning of the journey. Just me acknowledging this is what I want, and that's really how it started, and it's been an ongoing process.
Wow, what an interesting defining moment.
Yeah.
I think a lot of us, probably haven't had or couldn't identify so clearly the defining moment where we're like, damn, maybe I am a little bit sexually attracted to women.
Yeah. And mine was a movie.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I'm going to share a little bit about myself in my adolescent years. So I actually went to an all-girls school throughout, until basically when I finished middle school. And in middle school, because my school was all girls, the first type of attraction that I experienced was with another girl. And my first kiss, my first makeout, my first hickey, my first fingering was with a girl. So to me, when I moved to the US and learning about, all these other labels, I figured, well, maybe I'm a lesbian, maybe I'm this, maybe I'm that, trying to fit myself into something that wasn't completely right for me. So then I learned in grad school about being heteroflexible. And I thought, damn, that feels kind of right.
Yeah.
Right. Because I'm mainly sexually attracted to men. However, there will be times, and it's not just like shallow. It's not just like, oh, she's hot, and it's not performative, and it's not like, oh, I just I'm drunk and I want to kiss her. Like, it's not like that at all. I do feel sometimes I have a deep, emotional connection with a woman, and, I kind of want to make out with her, or, oral or finger her.
Right. No, I completely agree. As I've gotten to know myself more, I know that I'm much more romantically invested in men, and I see myself marrying a man and have kids with a man. And then with women, I'm very like sexually attracted to women. And same thing. I'll see a girl, and I'm like, damn, she's so hot. Like I want to like hug her and kiss her and just be with her. And it's like, it's okay to have both. And it feels like imbalance, but it doesn't have to be one way or another. It's nice to just kind of express however you sexually feel towards different genders.
Yeah, I think so too. I think that the more we put restrictions on attraction, the more we are dimming our like sexual vitality light.
Mm-hmm.
And
I definitely agree.
Yeah, to me, sexual vitality is something that you shine on like every aspect of life, not just like when you're in bed or when you're about to have sex.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like when someone radiates like sexual vitality, you kind of know.
Ooh. I want to learn more about that at some point. Yeah.
For sure. So throughout your journey, you had this first partner, and then you have another partner that you feel more comfortable talking about this exploration with. Tell me more about this like situation.
Yeah, of course. So my current partner, his name's Matt. I see him as my life partner. And when we first started dating about 2 years ago, I told him that, I really still want to explore with women, sexually with women. I haven't, been in a space to start that journey yet. And, it's something I still want to do. And he's very supportive. I told him eventually down the line, I would like to also explore, threesomes together if it goes that way. But first, it was very important for me, and then also for us, that, we work on ourselves first, and we build our relationship, and we work on our own communication and our connection. And then we did. And then earlier this year, actually, I finally felt ready, like mentally, physically, I felt well. Our relationship is just like healthy. Our communication is so spot on. And it was my birthday month, actually.
Ooh.
I know. I downloaded the apps, and he actually helped me set up my dating profiles, because I don't have much experience with online dating. And so he was actually like helping me set up my dating apps. And so that was fun thing that we kind of did together. Like I said, he's super supportive. And so my first date, I had a first date with this girl, and we hit it off, and we had a really nice dinner and drinks. And then the following week, I went over to her place, and it was my first time having sex with a woman, and it was beautiful, and it was so fun and so sexy. And yeah, and then that same weekend, actually, I had my second a date with another woman, and another sexual experience happened after the date also. And it was just so much fun. And it's just, two women who are, having a good time, exploring each other, being friends, just having sex and just being together is really beautiful and fun. And when we first went into this, we started with one boundary, which is that I always have a conversation with the girl about STDs before we have sex.
Yes.
In order to protect myself and my partner.
Yes.
And then,
snap.
yeah. And then we added a second boundary, actually, afterward, because so I got home from, I stayed the night at one of the girls' places. And when I came home, he was actually very stressed out, and he hadn't slept at all that night. And none of us expected him to feel that way. He's so supportive. And it really just kind of hit him. It stressed him out a little bit that, I am being intimate with another person, even though that we know that we love each other, and I'm not interested in being, long term with another woman, it still kind of crept up on him that, I'm being intimate with another person. And so, we talked about it. We knew that we were going to learn along the way because it's very new for both of us.
Yes.
And we added another boundary, which is that after a date, being with a woman, whatever it is, I come home the same night and we sleep in the same bed together. So that way, I'm still kind of ending the night with him and we can talk about it. And so we've been doing that and really just working on it's a constant process, really. And it's a great process and it's fun. It's such a learning journey, not only for me, but also for him and then for us together. And it's honestly been great. And this wouldn't work if we didn't have good communication and if we didn't respect each other's boundaries and whatever we built together, conversations that we've had, we just honor each other as I'm going through this. So.
Oh my gosh. I fucking love this.
I figured
dynamic.
You would.
Yeah. Like it's, showing being a grown up adult, mature, and really showing both of your emotional intelligence. Right. Because him, being stressed out about that particular scenario and then explaining it to you verbally and both of you have a conversation and then dynamically adjust your boundary. It's so damn beautiful.
Yeah. It's been just an easy flow where it's like, if we aren't comfortable with something, we'll say something and then we'll move forward with fixing it and try something new. And that's the cool thing about boundaries is that they don't have to stick forever.
Right.
So it's really just wherever we are in life in our relationship.
Being flexible.
Being flexible. That flexibility word is coming back. Exactly.
Being flexible while being heteroflexible.
That's a lot of flexibility. I could barely even touch my toes. Let me tell you.
I love that. So, okay, now that you've been on this journey and your partner has been supportive, I want to kind of dial it back a little bit to your particular sexual experience. You said it was beautiful and you really enjoyed it, and your sexual partner at the time seemed like she was enjoying it as well. What did you do? Were you making out? Or did you end up doing oral or
a lot. So I went over to her place and I made cocktails and
I know you make good cocktails.
I do actually. Yeah. They were so good. I made a lot of them and so we were drinking, we were talking. I was talking a lot because I was a little nervous. And then she finally kind of pulled the trigger and walked over to me and we started making out. And it was the first time I've ever really embraced with a woman. And, she's got a very petite, long body. And so I'm thinking oh my God, she's so I'm afraid I'm going to break her. But then I'm thinking I wonder if this is how guys feel when they're having sex with a petite woman also. But I know, me speaking, I like it a little rough here and there, So it's kind of I think switched my mindset a little bit.
When Shag or The Rock have sex, what is that like?
When what?
When Shag or The Rock have sex, what is that like? Because they're massive. They're massive people.
Oh my God. I don't know. Or Thor, that big lifter and his little wife. Oh man, I have no idea.
So, okay,
so we started making out, we start touching. And then, she takes me over to her bedroom and we did oral. So that was my first time doing oral and I was excited and nervous because I'd never done it before. And I loved it. I actually really, really loved it. And
my gosh, that's sister.
It was so fun. It just feels great making the person feel good. Right.
Yeah.
And actually after we had sex, I asked her because I was nervous about fingering because my first fingering experience, I got cut because the guy didn't cut his nails well. So I asked her at one point when we were done having sex and I was I'm afraid to finger. Can you teach me what you do? And so I straight up asked her some techniques and ideas for how to finger. And it actually was really helpful. And it helped get my head out of it. But yeah, more sexual communication there.
Yeah, for sure. Sexual communication is literally key
Mm-hmm.
to sexual
Absolutely.
well-being, sexual experience, just key to sex life. And I cannot believe that there are people out there that still say, what's the point of sexual communication? Is sex is something you do, not something you talk about.
Oh my goodness. That's wild. You know, before I met Matt, actually, I didn't really know how to communicate about sex. I didn't know how to. And so with him and also with the women I've been with and also conversations with myself, really, I've learned that sexual communication is so important and like your sex actually gets better when you learn how to talk about it more and you connect with a partner enough to talk about it. It's like unlocking a chapter you didn't even know existed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I'm really interested in, this particular journey that you're on, and especially like the nitty-gritty of, so what happens afterwards? Do you have open communication about like, hey, I'm exploring and this is, not a relationship? Like, how did you prime the sexual partner, the woman sexual partner, and how did you leave? Like, what did you say?
Sure. So I start with the fact that I am in a relationship with a man and I'm looking to explore and have friends, have sexual friends with women. So I start with that. Really. So
Mm.
that's like our first date, really. That's something that we talk about. And if for whatever reason, if that doesn't align, it's usually pretty apparent. And I'd rather not go a step further with that with the woman to become a sexual partner, because I don't want there to be any sort of misalignment or anyone emotionally feeling one way and the other person doesn't.
Right, right.
Yeah, and
Because
so
that
the
would be
two,
misleading, right?
it would be, yeah, and I would be going into it knowing that there's a misalignment there.
Mhm.
So it's usually in the first date I talk about it, and then they're cool about it because they're kind of feeling the same way, where they're just looking to explore and have fun and um and that's really it. So just making sure that we're on the same page is really
Yeah.
important 1st.
So, from your experiences during sex, like, how was the sexual connection, the chemistry?
It was great. So I think that I felt more confident going into my second experience, and I felt like more
You were like,
comfortable,
my
a little.
nails are ready.
I'm fucking ready. Let's go.
I buffed them before I came here.
I swear to God. Yeah. Yeah. And then I fingered the second time too. And I did it with more confidence this time because of what I learned from my first female sex partner.
Yes.
So that was
Sexual
actually,
confidence, because sexual
oh,
confidence goes a long way.
absolutely. Yeah. But I mean, they were both wonderful. Like I couldn't have asked for a better first time. And then the conversation I had led to like even more sexual confidence going into times after that. And
Yeah.
so like I feel like sex is just a constant journey, really,
Yeah.
And so I'm sure there's going to be more experiences to be had and lessons to be learned and journeys to, different roads to take down. So
You only live once.
YOLO.
Yeah. I mean, you only live once and you only have this one life to live. I mean, no disrespect to studies on afterlife, because I believe it exists. But, from this realm of life, you literally don't have that much time. And I think as a person, you kind of have to decide, like, do you want to maximize this life and go through different kinds of experiences? But I also think there's nothing wrong with, people that, found their partner in high school, got married, still together. I've seen successful couples that are happy, fulfilled, that are still together. So nothing wrong with that at all. I don't want to say like, oh, everyone must explore, right? That's
Right.
like a very fixed mindset, and I don't
But if
like
it's
that.
something that you want,
Yeah.
then I hope, whoever really wants to I hope that at some point they're in a space where they're able to move forward with it and try it and have a good support system and have people to talk to and learn from, like this podcast.
Woo! Love Bites by Dr. Tara. So I wanted to say though that, hetero flexible or being hetero flexible is perhaps still a stigma in many, many places in the world, many, many places in the United States, right? Because even just like regular sex talk is still taboo in many places,
right.
let alone saying that you're hetero flexible. A lot of people will be like, what the hell
or
is
even
that?
thinking it.
Right. Or like saying that something wrong with you or you're weird. I'm here to tell you that you're not weird. And it's completely fine if you feel like you're hetero flexible, both men and women, because now, we're women and we're talking about our experiences. I feel a lot more men feel that being hetero flexible is a lot more taboo for men because of all the, basically
like masculinity.
Yeah. Like all those toxic beliefs that if you're ever, interested or sexually attracted to a man, you're this, you're that, a lot of, just negative or socially unacceptable labels, which I think for men, it's harmful. Like, dude, it's okay. I'm telling you right now, if you're hetero flexible, I support you.
100%. I feel like it's so limiting. And it's, I feel like there's more acceptable that I don't know, people are more accepting towards women exploring and not as much towards men, I think.
For sure. Like even just think about just think about the very cliche. This is so cliche, by the way, but like cliche scene in a movie, right? Like two girls kissing when they're at a bar, right? Is most of the times would be perceived as like hot. But if two guys like kissing in a movie, right? A lot of men that are maybe misguided might think it's gross or giving it a really negative label. So yeah, I think definitely it's a lot more difficult for men to claim they are hetero flexible.
Yeah. And I really do hope that changes because I think it would be great if more guys talked about it and shared that sort of experience. And if more women were also accepting of it too. Like, if I dated a guy who was heteroflexible and, wanted to explore with men, I'd like to think that the person I am today, I would be 100% supportive and be like, oh, that sounds fun. Go.
I will be too.
Do your thing. Yeah. And then, that's so interesting. You know what I mean?
Like, I was sucking
Tell me
dick.
everything. Yeah. Tell me everything.
I was sucking dick. Let me give you some tips.
I know, exactly. Don't worry. I got you.
I honestly would be so supportive to any guy friends that want to come talk to me. Please DM me if you're interested in this concept of hetero flexibility. Because if you feel like there's no one to talk to, I'm here for you.
Tara says to slide into her DMs, so get in there.
Well, okay. Can I ask you a few? Well, we've been really personal, but a few more personal questions?
Go for it.
Okay, I'm curious. So you said earlier that you guys are considering a threesome. Have you had it?
No, we haven't yet. So it was important for me that I have experiences for myself first. And then I also had to work through any sort of idea of jealousy too.
Yes.
Because and that's something, I still fantasize about, us having a threesome. And sometimes, when we're having sex, we'll do like a little role play and like we'll talk through what might happen like as we're having sex. And that really kind of helps prep my mind too, because when I first would think about, let's say, Matt having sex with a woman in front of me and her being pleasured. At first, I was like, I felt insecure because I'm like, oh my God, like, oh, I don't know. I would just feel insecure. Like, oh, she's loving it. Do I need to be better? Blah, blah, blah.
Like, I want to sit on your face. Like not her sitting on your face.
but then as I started thinking about it more and we did more of the fun role play things and talking to more people, I was like, actually, that's a good thing. Like if I'm seeing a girl who's being pleasured by my man, I'm like, yeah, that's right. That's my man. He's good. He'll do you right. And like
Yes.
that makes me excited. And then I want to like help make her feel even better. So like it's been like a journey in my mindset as well as like we're preparing to do that. So it hasn't happened yet, but I like we both know that we're ready and like we've been, looking, we've been on the dating apps, kind of talking to people. So when the time is right and we find the right person, by all means it's gonna happen. And ideally we'd like to, continue being friends with the person too. Like we're a very connecting couple and we like to connect with other people.
Yeah.
And for us, like sex doesn't feel good if there's no connection.
Right.
And so even when there's another person involved, like we want there to be just a full connection, comfortability all around. And that isn't going to be with just anybody. So we're just kind of taking our time for whenever we're ready and the right person comes along.
Right. Yeah. It's kind of like having a friend with benefit.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
I definitely, yeah.
Which, comes with with complications.
By the way.
Yeah, comes with complications. Definitely, research in friends with benefits show that there needs to be a lot of communication, open and honest, and a lot of, dynamic boundary communication and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, it's being respectful and honoring everyone's feelings. Right.
Exactly.
And sexual experience. If you are all enjoying and having fun, like that's great. That's like the best outcome.
Exactly. And so that's definitely what we want for sure.
Okay. So my other question would be, would you guys be interested in swinging, or do you know what that means?
So yeah, that's like couple swap, right?
Right. Well, you don't have to swap for long, but like basically, at the scene, which is where you have sex, you enjoy conversations, maybe some libations, and basically it's two couples swinging.
So you know what's funny is we had a proposition maybe a couple months ago. We
hot couple alert.
Oh my gosh, it was awesome. So we didn't go through with it, but I'll tell you kind of what happened here. So we went on this double date, went really well. We went out with them again that same night. Got dinner with some of their friends. It was a whole group thing. Then we went to a strip club. I'm super interested in the girl. I think she's so hot. She's got a great ass. Like I just want to make out with her and touch her. And so we're at the strip club. I asked if I could kiss her. We start making out, and then I guess they don't play separately anymore. The couples, the couple that we were with, they only play together. So their proposition was that we go over to their place that night and us girls would have sex while the men watch. And then when we're done, then we have sex with our own partners in the same room. So it starts with the girls and then we end with our own respective partners. And at first I was like, I'm kind of down. But then I was thinking about it and I talked to Matt to see how he was feeling. And I don't think that we were ready for that. Like we haven't even had a threesome. That was a lot to consider, like me having another man that I don't know in the room.
Right.
Matt, there being another man in the room. It's like, it was like, we're not ready for it right now. However, I mean, the idea is kind of fun. You know what I mean? And like, we're all still friends to this day. We were just honest. We're not ready for it. So I think at some point we would definitely consider. However, at this point, we haven't even had threesomes yet. So it's kind of a step by step, and we'll see what happens down the line. But
baby steps.
Yeah, exactly.
I love this conversation. Do you have any questions for me?
I do actually. So, as I mentioned before, so we, Matt and I, our relationship always comes first.
Yes.
And, if our intimacy isn't on board, then it doesn't feel appropriate for me to date and be with other women if we're not on track. So, since my birthday month, I've been super busy. I wasn't happy at my job and I was really looking for a new job, and all these other stressful things were happening in our lives. Just busy couple, kind of getting through life and busy point in their lives. So my question was, what might you recommend for a busy couple to keep their sex lives consistent, even through, like really busy or stressful times? How do you keep that consistent? Because I think we're not at that point where we're keeping it consistent, because if we're like busy, then we're busy. And then we don't have like as strong of a sexual connection as we usually do, which I think like with adults that probably happens often. However, if there's a way to be more consistent with it, even through the stressful times, I'd love to learn about it.
That's a great question. I would say there are 3 aspects for you to consider. Number 1 would be communication. So can you have more sex talks? And this can be inserted into like dinners, lunch, or when you go out and take a walk or a hike. Can you start talking about sex? Like, hey, can we talk about sex? And like mention, 3 things you do for me that are so hot or super pleasurable. It's keeping this like, fun and flirty and like sexual communication active and alive throughout the relationship. I try to talk about sex. I try to talk about sex like every day with my partner, mentioning like 2-3 things, because it's kind of hot and it keeps it like in your brain, like thinking about it, and communication exists like throughout and not just right before you try to have sex. So definitely number 1 is to try to keep that sexual communication, maybe dirty talk, in check, because it doesn't take much, right?
Right.
Like if you're already
kind of in the mood, you're in the mood.
Yeah. If you're already talking about stuff like bills, how was your day? Maybe inserted this conversation in there too, and it takes like 15 seconds. But like active sexual communication reminds your partner, and really you just remind each other of, your sexuality and your sexual energy, which leads to my second point, keeping your sexual energy intact. And how you would do this is for couples, especially like you guys, I recommend exploring tantra together, tantric sex, tantric massage, because this is keeping energy in check. And it doesn't even have to be penetrative sex. It could be tantric practices like doing the yap yum, which is one person, you can both be naked or not. You can be in your undies, and one person sits down like crisscross applesauce, and the other person sits down on that person with their legs wrapped around, and you just hug each other and you put your foreheads like joined.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And you just literally sit there and just breathe together. You don't even have to talk. That is like checking in with sexual energy. And I think it's really, really beneficial. I wish everyone would do it. And then one last thing that I do think that has a stigma, that people think, oh my God, sex should be spontaneous. No, bro. If you've been in long-term relationships, scheduled sex is amazing, right? This takes into account like, we're busy professionals. We're trying to achieve. We're trying to, be better in our careers, be like bettering our lives, bettering our mental health. Like one less uncertain thing would be amazing. So scheduled sex. You can even, on a Sunday, like both look at your calendars and be like, okay, next week, which day are you open? And literally just like, you only need 1 hour. Right? 1 hour of truly connecting and having any kind of sexual activity you want. This doesn't mean penetration alone, right? It can just be all kinds of things that are sexual and or penetration. But basically having scheduled sex is amazing. And I don't think there is anything wrong with that. If anything, it means you care about your relationship and you want to keep that, sexual energy going.
I love that. So
Yes.
the first one was talk about sex, keep it
Yes.
on the brain.
Yes.
And the second one was checking your sexual energy.
Yes.
And then the tantra sex, is that what it was
Yes.
called?
Tantra.
And then the third one, tantra, thank you. And then the third one is scheduling sex.
Woohoo!
I
Yes.
love that.
Yes. Okay. Well, that was a very, very interesting conversation. Thank you so much for sharing your candid and honest experience. I do think that millions of people can relate and feel, more comfortable about their own life and their own experiences from this conversation. So I want to move to our next segment, which is a little game that I typically play with my guests. And today we are going to play Hot or Not.
Ooh, okay.
Okay, are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Hot or not? Anal.
Hot.
Skinny dipping.
Hot.
Bondage.
Ooh, hot.
Ooh. Threesome.
Yeah. Hot.
Pegging.
Not.
Sex on the beach.
Hot.
Deep throat.
Not.
Using a vibrator while penetrating.
Hot.
Role play.
Hot.
And last but not least, double penetration.
Not.
Glad we're all clear on that.
Yeah. Take notes, everybody.
Oh my gosh. Thank you so much for today. Do you have any last words?
Just that I think it's important for people to remember that sex, just like anything else in life, is a constant journey. And it's so important to talk to yourself, what do you want? What do you like? Okay, how do I want to explore this? And make sure you have a good support system of people to talk about and who are going to support your journey. So, I could have 100 more stories by, I don't know, next year, even, everything just changes. And that's the beauty of life. So always try something new, whatever you're comfortable with, and just enjoy your life, really, whatever that is.
Well, I can't wait to have you back.
I would love to be back
more experiences.
For my 100 more stories.
For sure. Thank you so much for today. And bye, loves. I hope you're having an orgasmic day.
Thanks for listening. This was Love Bites. Love Bites. By Dr. Tara. Follow Dr. Tara on social media at lovebites.co. Have an orgasmic day.